Halloween is coming up, and my parents have this beautiful garden where they're growing pumpkins, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to show you guys how to carve pumpkins with a Dremel Rotary tool, or any rotary tool for that matter. To start, I'll just cut off the top with these shears. Oops. I sure wish I had a versatile high-speed rotary tool. Oh, would you look at that? Very nice. The first thing I'll do here is use the Dremel 561 to clean up the stems. I'm using a Dremel 8220 just because I'm carving outside and I don't have an outlet close by. I'll also use the 561 to cut off the top. I'm using about 20,000 RPM, but there isn't a pumpkin rating on the Dremel, so I'm not sure if that's the best speed. It turns out this pumpkin is super premature, so I'll really need to carve out the inside to get it thin enough to carve. If there were seeds, I'd scoop them out and clean them in a bowl of cold water, cook them in boiling salted water, dry them, oil, and resalt them, and then roast them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Alright, I'll be using a stencil today, so if you are too, print one out to the size you want. I'll also add in some freehand details in a bit. If you try to just put the paper on there, you'll see it won't want to lay flat onto the pumpkin, so cutting up the design will really work in your favor to get it placed on better. I learned this little trick from Cornelius Creations on YouTube. I'm taping it down as best I can, and then I'm going to trace around the lines very lightly with the Dremel 107 engraving bit at 20,000 RPM. I'm using a Dremel Light here since I don't need a lot of power, but any engraving bit and any rotary tool should work just fine. I'm really just trying to score the skin of the pumpkin since I don't want to cut through it. You'll see the bit wasn't cutting through the paper as easily as I wanted, so I started putting dots along the lines so that I could connect those later. This also helps to keep the stencil in one place. So, why might you want to use a Dremel to carve a pumpkin? To start, it's going to give you a lot more control than a knife, so you can really get precise lines, and it's really easy to carve at specific depths. So instead of just cutting through the pumpkin, you can carve out just the skin, or halfway through, or whatever depth you'd like. If you're new to using a rotary tool though, I recommend you read up on the instructions of your specific tool to operate it safely, so don't be giving one of these tools to a kid. Here we have the dotted outline, so we can connect those dots to finish the outline. I'm using the 107 here still. Alright, looks good. I'm going to trace with a couple markers where I want to carve the rest of the design so it's easy for me to follow. I'll use the Dremel 562 to carve the rest of this at 20,000 RPM. If any of you remember this meme from 2016, I hope you appreciate it. I saw some pumpkins online that used this design and I thought it was a hilarious idea. I carved out the colored in portions of this design and I just cut in about halfway through the pumpkin for the line work. I'll give a little time lapse here as I carve it. Again, this pumpkin is really thick, and it was really wet since it was fresh, so I had to keep wiping away the pulp, so it took longer than expected. I used the 561 a couple times just to sharpen the inside edges since the 562 leaves them pretty gnarled up. For the eyes, I just carved in about halfway through the pumpkin and tried to keep the depth even. If you have extra marker visible like I did, have no fear. I just grabbed some rubbing alcohol and wiped it off. Worked great. Some of the pulp was really stuck in those grooves in line art from the 561, so I just blasted them with a hose to wash it all out. Alright, the pumpkin's all done. There's no more stuck pulp. I'll just let it dry a couple hours in the sun and then come back. Here we are. Drop dead gorgeous. Love this project and spent so little time on it. Honestly, it would have taken half the time if it was a normal pumpkin without such thick skin. Here's when I ask that if you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe to stick around. Thank you. So this looks really good in the day, and even better at night. If I throw some candles in there, the outline really stands out even though they aren't all the way through the pumpkin. Because it was early August at the time I filmed this, it's a bit too early to be putting this outside the house. So what better way would there be than to send this meme off with a nice little bonfire? Enjoy. If you aren't already subscribed to this channel, make sure to do so if you think I've earned it, and check out my channel for more power wood carving and rotary tool videos. Happy Halloween.